Josh, how much have you looked at the Labour Party's plans here? What's your sort of initial view of them?
Yeah, we've been watching over the course of the development now of two or three manifestos to see the direction that Labour would want to take the United Kingdom, and think it's an impressively both bold and pragmatic direction for the country, and particularly after the number of years that the UK has suffered from a lack of both direction and follow through.
I guess one of the sort of criticisms that's been made of the plans is precisely that they are so bold, right? That they, the government have an already ambitious plan. The sort of current government, for the next week at least, have an ambitious plan to decarbonise the grid by 2035. Labour saying they want to do it by 2030. That would require, as far as I can understand, a huge amount of renewable energy development of a scale that we have not seen anything close to in the UK before. Do you think it's feasible?
Look, I think the actual targets are less important than what the plan is underlying to accomplish any acceleration of the transition, both for energy and also for building out of the supply chain and reducing the cost of energy and bringing more manufacturing back to the United Kingdom than we've seen over the last, frankly, 14 years. One of the great challenges, even with the 2035 target that the Conservative government has had, is they never put a sufficient amount of it into action. You would have a plan unveiled, and then there would be a change in energy minister or a change in government, and there wasn't an execution. What is most inspiring in terms of confidence of what the Labour Party has laid out is they have a clear vision for addressing some of the permitting challenges that the United Kingdom faces, setting direction and providing certainty, and partnering between government and the private sector to start seeing these things get done, both in terms of renewables, but also a recognition that hydrogen could play an important role in this, and that the United Kingdom needs to finally really execute on its plans to complete the construction of some of the nuclear plants that have been under planning for many, many years now, and also development of the small modular reactor plans that we've heard often spoken about, but never have gone from planning and an announcement to actual decisions.
Although, even if we do all of that now with nuclear, which absolutely we should, as far as I'm concerned, it's very obviously needs to be part of a net zero solution. It's going to take much longer than 2030 to get there because it just takes such a long time to build nuclear, right?
Sure, but this is why I think there's a mix of boldness and pragmatism from the Labour plan, is the recognition that there needs to be a real acceleration of offshore wind. There needs to finally be an opportunity for the construction of more onshore wind, a removal through permitting reform of a lot of the challenges for interconnecting. You have to wait far too many years to get anything online and into the grid today than a truly robust functioning economy should have to wait. So that takes care of the short term, but neither the energy security nor the cost nor the decarbonization challenges that the United Kingdom faces today ends magically in 2030. So having a government that says we need short-term planning and we're going to execute on that, and we need a long-term vision, which we are also going to stick with, provide certainty with, and execute against. It's a challenge for all democracies. But it's refreshing that you've got a Labour Party that has embraced both parts of the challenge. And by 2028, 2029, you'll know, is nuclear on track to really provide the kind of clean, always available electricity and even heat for industry that the country is going to need well into the 2030s and beyond. And I think that's a really important point that Labour recognizes, and unfortunately the Conservative government didn't execute against.
I mean, I've just been up in Scotland speaking with energy leaders who, on the whole, really do like Labour's plans. They like the partnership with business. They like the kind of partnership with the private sector. I mean, they're very interested in skills as well. They're hoping that, Scotland can become a real place where there are massive green skills academies and all of that. But the big but in all of this is, you just touched upon it there, Josh, planning reform is really, really important in all of this, right? To get things built quickly. And also you've got to try and get in quite big injections of hopefully private sector cash to start building some of this stuff. And that's what they love the plan. They like the words in the manifesto. All of that is good, but they are anxious because look, if planning reform is easy, it would have been done before, right? It's not like no one has had this original thought to get planning changed. So how quickly do you think Labour can do that? And how quickly do you think we could start seeing, real movement, particularly on building?
Yeah, I think we've learned in the United States that planning and permitting is the linchpin for this. The difference between Labor's plan moving forward and what the Biden administration and Congress did is we had the investment in capital from the government side, the indication of direction first, and permitting and planning is still on the to-do list. And it's now 4 years later. Labor, in how it's discussed this, and we'll see what happens when if and when they get in government, has said, we are going to move on permitting and planning immediately, just to your point, because it takes a long time to do. However, I think that what you could see is if Labor moves quickly to start getting that done and provides the certainty that they're committed to that and they're committed to bringing in the private capital that's needed to actually get these projects off the ground and build up the skills in the workforce so that you know that the workers will be there when projects start getting moving, you could see the capital moving in the right direction early and give more impetus to actually getting more of the permitting and planning done. The other important point, Ayesha, to make on this is you don't need to get it all done at the same time. That as the process evolves, if you start taking bits and chunks of the obstacles in permitting and planning that are creating roadblocks and showing that you can even do that, it starts building confidence in the private sector. It starts showing impact politically, and you can build on those early wins to get more. And that's one of the things on the converse side we've seen sometimes in the United States, where if in places where building starts, the communities, the politicians see, oh, this is beneficial, we need to do more of it, or it doesn't happen and they get frustrated and start getting cynical. So that's why I think it's both so important, and it's important that it's moved on early.